So what a weekend of football we've just had. In today's video we'll be rounding up all the action that did go on over the course of the weekend in the Championship, and as well as that we've got a full fixture list coming up in midweek which we will be predicting in the second half of today's video. So as always, get your thoughts in the comments down below as to what you made of your team's performance, and also get your score predictions in for what you think is going to happen in midweek. Before we do get into anything though, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. As always, that link will be in the top line of the description down below. Over on the OneFootball app you can go ahead and keep up to date with all the latest ongoings in the Championship. Like I said, as we do have a full fixture list coming up in midweek, quite a lot can change in terms of the league standings between now and the end of the week. So if you want to get live updates to your phone with all the games that are going on, OneFootball is the best place to be. And before we do hop into any of the individual games, I will include your guys' score predictions on screen now. So if any of you did successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct, then fair play. I didn't have the best of weeks this time. I got quite a lot of the results right, but none of the individual scorelines. So fair play to everyone who did get a score prediction correct this week. It was a pretty unpredictable one. But without any further ado, let's hop in to talk about these games. So starting out with Friday night's game, which saw Bristol City squander the opportunity to cement their place in the top six as Birmingham came to town and beat them by 3-1. I think a lot of people were backing Bristol City for this one, especially with the run that they were coming into this game with 4 consecutive wins, and they got off to the perfect start in this game as well. Mark Roberts with a poor back pass in the opening stage of this game. Jamie Patterson latched onto that, took the ball around Lee Camp, tapped it in, and with Bristol City in that position playing at home, you'd expect them to go on there and win the match, but that was not the case. Birmingham reacted really well to that. We've spoken a bit on the channel so far about the potential partnership for the rest of the season between Scott Hogan and Lucas Djukovic. Hogan looking to play off the shoulder and get those flick-ons from Duke, but Scott Hogan once again on the score sheet for Birmingham. Bella with some really nice footwork. He had a shot which Bentley parried into the path of Hogan, and he was there for the tap-in to make it 1-1. After that, a really nice ball in from Jude Bellingham where Bristol City had failed to clear the initial chance, ends up in the back of their own net, Andy Vyman heading it in. For the second half, Bristol City looked to make a couple of changes. They changed their system up a little bit, trying to force Birmingham into a couple of uncomfortable positions, but I thought they defended quite well. Jeju, a decent chance fell to him, but he couldn't get that one on target, and eventually Birmingham wrapped it up. Lee Camp with the assist straight up the field to Djukovic. Djukovic with a brilliant turn, pass to Bristol City defenders, and then smashes it in to make it 3-1. Fantastic result from Birmingham, and they have been a really quite inconsistent side so far this season, but have showed real glimpses, and the more I see of that partnership between Duke and Hogan for the rest of the season, it could be a decent finish for them. For Bristol City though, big opportunity, he missed that one. And that Bristol City result certainly helps out Preston North End, who have climbed back into the top 6 after beating Wigan by 2-1. Now Preston got off to a fantastic start in this game, taking the lead after just 7 minutes. Wigan did have an early chance, Jamal Lowe, but Rudd saved well from that one. But the opening goal from Preston, brilliant football. Ben Pearson with one pass, which probably took like 4 Wigan players out of the game. Defence splitting pass into Daniel Johnson. You have to say quite poor from Wigan not to pick up DJ. DJ then flashes it across the box, and Tom Barkhuizen's there for a tap-in. In that first half, I thought that Preston were really all over Wigan. You know, Wigan didn't start this game well at all. Sonny Maguire had a good chance, which was saved well by Marshall. I have been a bit critical on Maguire lately, but I actually thought he'd led the line really well for this one, and especially in the first half, was quite effective with his link-up play. Scott Sinclair also had another chance, which he probably should have buried. Made a run really nicely. Ben Pearson found him, but he just dragged his shot wide. Moving into the second half, though, once again, we got off to a fast start, making it 2-0 after just 48 minutes. Some more fantastic football being played for this one. Nice give and go between Tom Barkhuizen and Alan Brown. Barkey then finds DJ, and then he slots it in at the near post. From then on, Wigan, as soon as Dunkley gets that goal back for them, they start to grow into the game a little bit more. I thought that Joe Geldhart coming on really had an influence on the game. It was a fantastic ball in to get that equaliser from Geldhart. He tested Rudd from range, and you could see that he was one of the few players in that Wigan squad who actually had a spark about him. But in the end, Preston did manage to hang on, and a big result for Preston in the race for the top 6. Once again, I thought that Ben Pearson was absolutely fantastic. DJ really was pulling the strings. In terms of Wigan, quite a damning result really. Then next up we have Barnsley drawing 1-1 against Sheffield Wednesday. In both side situations, a point doesn't really do either of them any favours, you know, and both goals really resulting from mistakes in this one. It was Josh Windass who gave Sheffield Wednesday the lead after 16 minutes in this one, his first goal since arriving there from Wigan in January. The ball was sort of being pinballed around the box. Eventually it fell to Windass and he smashed in at the near post, but that goal was levelled out a few minutes later. Corley Woodrow, it was a ball that came forward that was hooked forward. Cameron Dawson then came out of his goal, looked to clear it, bit of a botched clearance really straight into the path of Woodrow, but then Woodrow from about 35 yards out managed to hook the ball into the back of the net, and suddenly it's 1-1. Barnsley for the rest of this game, I didn't think, you know, particularly played bad. badly. You know, Dawson had to be kept on his toes and he dug Wednesday out on a couple of occasions, but really a point for them just isn't enough in this sort of situation. They need to take full advantage of the games they've got left of the season at Oakwell. On Tuesday, they're at home once again. They need to be picking up wins there now. For Sheff Wednesday, I can understand the frustrations that are going on at the club at the moment. You know, at the turn of the year, they were on the cusp of the top 6, really. They were well within contention, but after a run of, I think, 1 win in their last 7 matches, they're now 6 points adrift of the top 6. Then we had Fulham beating Blackburn by 1 goal. Still, Fulham continuing to put the pressure on the top 2, and especially with the Leeds result this weekend, a massive 3 points for Fulham in this one, who are on an absolute roll at the moment, it has to be said. But Mitrovic scoring the only goal of the game. He's sort of like a get out of jail free card, really. Whenever you're not being as clinical as you could be, Mitrovic is always going to be there to pop up with the goal every now and again. And it was a great pullback from Joe Bryan, nice spin on the spot from Mitrovic, and then a nice finish. But other players from Fulham certainly caught my eye in this one. Rodak once again with another big performance. You know, we spoke about him a lot from that Huddersfield game, but at 1-0, Blackburn had a great chance to get back into the game. Sam Gallagher having the chance, but Rodak got down really well to make the save. Gallagher also had another chance in the first half, that header just going over the bar. And with Blackburn's injuries at the moment, I was interested to see how they sort of configure the squad. It was youngster Raheem Costello who went into that number 10 role, so I'm interested to see how he gets on there for the rest of the season. But in the end, Fulham getting the job done. They did have other chances, Tom Kearney being quite involved in the build-up play, and Cavallero and Bobby Reid very involved as they usually are, but a big 3 points for Fulham in that one. And like I said, the pressure really is now on Leeds. And another side keeping the pressure on Leeds in the top 2 at the moment is Brentford, who won again this weekend 3-2 against Middlesbrough. Now, despite Middlesbrough walking away from nothing from this game, I actually thought they played pretty well, to be honest. It was Gene Villa who gave Brentford the lead, this one coming from a corner. He sort of peeled off to the back post. It wasn't all too clear if the ball had gone over the line originally, but as we do have goal line technology, that one did go over. Into the second half then, and this was when this game really did get going. As we all know, Lewis Wing does not score tap-ins. Fantastic strike to level it up for Middlesbrough, but soon after that, Brentford got back into it 2 minutes later with Mbima with a great strike from outside the box, and then 3 minutes after that, Middlesbrough leveled it up once again, making it 2-2. Ashley Fletcher from a corner, and from then on, the game really was in the balance. You know, Middlesbrough, watching this Borough side now compared to the start of the season, I think you do have to give a lot of credit to them. They're creating more chances, they're being more clinical, and just overall they're a lot more dynamic moving forward. A great chance did fall to Ashley Fletcher, actually, with the game at 2-2, and could have been the game-defining moment, but he just poked that one over the bar. In the end, though, Ollie Watkins, with the ball being pulled back to him, managed to seal it for Brentford, making it 3-2. He scored his 20th goal of the season, so currently him and Mitrovic are tied for 20 goals. I want to know from you guys, who do you think is finishing the season on more goals? But brilliant result for Brentford. The result just leaves them 2 points off Leeds in second now. And then we saw Huddersfield beating QPR by 2-0. The result sees Huddersfield now just 3 points behind QPR, so they'll be looking to finish the season as strong as possible. QPR started out fairly well. Eze once again caught my eye for this one. We saw a double nutmeg. We saw that in the Brentford game with Ben Rama as well, but Eze up to his usual tricks in this one. Such a classy player, trying to do everything on his own at times, really. He forced a couple of good saves from Lossell. I think that having Lossell back actually for Huddersfield will be massive for them moving forward. Keeping a clean sheet in this one, but seems to just add that calming presence to that back four. Having that experienced goalkeeper, and his distribution also looks to be a real strong point of his game. But moving on into the second half, that's when Huddersfield really came alive. Kachunga converting from close range in the 57th minute gave Huddersfield the lead, and then just a few minutes after that, he went on to win a penalty where Steve Mounier tucked away to make it 2-0 to Huddersfield. For QPR, I think they'll be really missing their chances in the first half. You know, they had one that went off the post as well, I think Grant Hall from a corner, and ultimately in the second half, that's what went on to cost them. So 3 losses in a row now for QPR. They're in a bit of a rut. And then we saw Cardiff beating Luton by 1-0. Cardiff getting the job done in this one, and it keeps them within the playoff picture. Only 4 points off the top 6 now, Cardiff. But the worry for Luton at the moment is it feels like they're sort of going down with a whimper at this point in time. You know, I think a lot of people are looking at Luton at the moment and seeing them as quite easy pickings for 3 points at the moment. And sort of the mentality around the club, the belief seems to be draining out of them that they do have that ability to survive. You know, they started out fairly well in this game. Cornick had a great chance that fell to him, but he just dragged that shot wide. And as soon as Cardiff did eventually manage to break the deadlock in the 73rd minute, you know, it wasn't the best that Cardiff have played so far this season, but Lee Tomlin, as he is so good at finding those little pockets of space, he manages to operate in those spaces so well, pick the ball up there and just manages to get his shot under Simon Sluga and makes it 1-0. Luton tried to throw everything at it late on to get back into it. Collins had a chance which went over the bar, another one fell to Harry Cornick as well, but it wasn't going to be for them, and at the moment they are looking quite down for League One. Reading up against Hull finished as a 1-1 draw. It was probably the away side, Hull, who started out as the better of the two sides in this one. They created quite a few chances. Marcus Maddison went close, he had a chance which was tipped onto the post. Jackson Irvine then tried to follow in but was well blocked by Liam Moore, and I think especially after Hull's last result against Brentford, they were just looking to put that out of their system as soon as possible really, but some nice attacking moves, they just couldn't quite find that goal. Reading started to go into the game a little bit more as that first half did go on. Yakumete was sent through on goal, but George Long stood up well to save from him. Baldock had a really good chance, but he just flashed that one wide. But in the second half especially, I thought that Reading looked a lot better. They looked a bit more cleaner with their passing, and a fantastic goal from Obita to open the scoring. John Swift, who I think has to be up there in the conversation as one of the best playmakers in the Championship, with another assist for this goal. Defence splitting pass into Obita, and then he just cans it past the goalkeeper to make it 1-0 to Reading. After that, we continue to see a flurry of chances for Reading. Ajaria, as he's so good on the ball, looks to jink his way past about 4 Hull defenders. That shot just goes wide in the end. But Hull still have something to say about this one. Malik Wilkes, with his first goal in a Hull City shirt with the help of a deflection, makes it 1-1, and all things considered, not the worst point in the world for Hull, I don't think, in that one. And then we had Stoke beating Charlton by 3 goals to 1. A big game down at the bottom of the Championship, and Stoke finally, it's been a long time coming, but seem to have found a bit of consistency about themselves. Unbeaten now in their last 6 home matches, which as a Preston fan I find a bit annoying really, because we've got them next in midweek. But not taking anything away from this performance, I thought that Stoke played really well, to be honest. They pressed well, took their chances when they came along. James Chester was in there, I think adds a lot of reassurance for them at the back. I think he's going to be a massive signing for them for the rest of the season. It was James McLean who took the lead for Stoke after 28 minutes, this one coming from quite a clever set piece. In the end, he had a tap in to make it 1-0. Charlton a bit slack at the back for this one, and ultimately it was defensive errors which led to their downfall really. Purrington did make it 1-1 going into half time, but that wouldn't last for too long, as in the 47th minute Tom Ince managed to make it 2-1. A nice assist there from Joe Allen, and eventually Nick Powell wrapping it up in the 66th minute. For Charlton, given what was on stake in this game, it was quite a poor performance really. I thought there'd be a bit more about them, but away from home Charlton just don't seem to be themselves at the moment. But ultimately a big 3 points for Stoke, which continues to bridge the gap between themselves and the bottom 3. And then we had Derby picking up all 3 points away at Swansea, beating them by 3 goals to 2. And what a turnaround it was for them in this game. They took the lead after 8 minutes. Tom Lawrence's original shot had hit the post, but Martin Waghorn was the first to react. He then had a tap in, but Swansea after that for the second half turned things around. The introduction of Jan Dander had the desired effect. Him with a fantastic strike from outside the box made it 1-1, and then Kyle Norton made it 2 after a nice ball in from AU. Ben Hamer had made a bit of a meal out of trying to clear that one. Brewster was causing all sorts of problems, and then Norton had a tap in to make it 2-1. But the reaction from Derby after that, you know, this is seems to be a different Derby side to what we were seeing earlier on this season. Holmes was left with an absolute acre of space inside the box. He was able to rifle it home to make it 2-2. Woodman, I thought, could have done a little bit better with that one, but then Tom Lawrence in the 80th minute with a fantastic strike to win it. Woodman once again seemed to be just caught a bit flat-footed for that one, but he made it 3-2, and what a 3 points that is for Derby. With the way that they're playing at the moment, and with the current run that they're on, they currently find themselves 7 points off the playoffs. Would it be too far of a stretch to say that Derby could be challenging for the playoffs this season? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, because interestingly enough, I believe that this time last season, Aston Villa, who obviously then went on to get promoted, were also 7 points off the playoffs. So there always seems to be that one side who comes from absolutely nowhere into the playoff picture, and with there not really being much consistency above Derby at the moment, maybe they can go ahead and sneak in there. So big 3 points for them in that one. And then that takes us into the evening kickoff, where we saw Forest beating Leeds by 2 goals to 0. What a massive result that is for Forest season. And I mean, Leeds were 11 points clear at one point, and now with Fulham winning this weekend, there is no gap between themselves and third. Forest find themselves just 1 point behind Leeds now, and sometimes I will come to Leeds' defence, and I have done for quite a few occasions on this bad run that they've gone through so far this season, where I'd say that I thought they got quite unlucky in some games where they played well but just couldn't quite take their chances. In this one, I didn't think Leeds played well. I thought that Forest got the better of it. Despite Leeds having a lot of the ball, it was a lot of meaningless possession really. Forest were brilliant breaking up things in midfield. You can really see the effect that Sam Bassau has on that team. He was absolutely everywhere breaking things up, and meaning that Leeds couldn't play their usual game of trying to get things going through midfield. Eventually, Sammy Amiobi taking the lead for Forest in at Kiko Casillas' near post. What's creepy about this goal is FIFA exactly predicted this goal in my prediction video. I'll play it on screen screen for you guys now, but what are the chances of that happening? In all seriousness though, Kiko Casillas should be doing much better with a shot like that in at his near post, and that you feel like weaknesses to, you know, areas that goalkeeper and striker, that's going to come back to bite Leeds at the end of the season. It has done on several occasions so far this season. For Nottingham Forest though, there were several standout performers. Joe Lilly I thought was brilliant. Thiago Silva was a real pleasure to watch. In the second half, it looked like Leeds had equalised. Bryce Samba getting down to make an original save and then just punches it off the goal line to make sure the rebound doesn't go either, that it just sort of bobbled up. It is those fine margins which haven't gone Leeds' way so far, but Forest I thought were well worth their 3 points in this one. Eventually they managed to wrap things up. Joe Lilly pickpocketing Jack Harrison. He then squares the ball into Tyler Walker, makes it 2-0 to Forest. And it is worrying times for Leeds now, especially considering their next game is against Brentford away. Then we have West Brom beating Millwall by 2-0. Now we mentioned it in our prediction video. We saw West Brom getting back to winning ways with that game against Luton, but this I said would be the real test for them. And I mean, they came through this one with flying colours. Not only did they get the result, but the performance as well. This was the West Brom that we were seeing earlier on this season. They were playing fast football going forward, and to be honest, the 2-0 scoreline, it could have been so much more. Pereira had a great early on chance where he hit the post, and there was some really nice link-up play in this one. Considering the conditions there as well, I thought that West Brom did really well with some of the football they were playing. Obviously, they tried to take a couple of corners where the ball was just rolling away because of how high the wind speeds were, but eventually West Brom did take the lead before half-time. Kravinovic, who just continues to get better and better week in, week out. Brilliant strike from outside the box, bends it into the far post. Just gets it into the bottom corner where he had 3 or 4 Millwall players closing him down. He was really one of the cogs which was driving this West Brom team forward in this one. And then for the second half, they continue with that same intensity. Eventually O'Shea making it 2-0. Grosicki, who got on in the second half with the assist for that one. But you can see by the match start to this one how many chances West Brom created. They were absolutely all over Millwall, and I mean, this is what West Brom fans have been waiting for. They got their swagger back in this one against an opponent who cannot be underestimated. You know, Millwall away has been one of the toughest places to go to so far this season. Bilic was absolutely buzzing in the interview he gave after the game, and it's understandable to see why. With Leeds losing this weekend, West Brom have extended their lead at the top of the Championship, and with more performances like that, they're only going to end up one way next season. But guys, there were all the games that did go on this weekend, so do get your thoughts in the comments down below. In terms of my results of the weekend, I think this time I'm going to have to give it to Nottingham Forest, I think, for beating Leeds and what that could do for their season. Takes them to just within 1 point of automatic promotion. Massive result for Forest in that one. Goal of the weekend, you guys already know this by now, but I'm a bit of a sucker for a team goal. So Tom Barkhuizen's goal against Wigan Athletic, just for the build-up play involved in that one, I thought was an absolutely terrific goal. But before we do wrap up today's video, we do have midweek action going on in the Championship, so we will now hop into those predictions. So do get your score predictions in the comments down below. So first of all, we've got Barnsley going up against Birmingham. Birmingham I thought looked excellent on Friday night. They obviously have that extra day of recovery as well. Barnsley need to take advantage of their games at Oakwell, but Birmingham will be no pushover. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in that game. Blackburn against Hull, once again sort of a 50-50 game. I'm not sure which way I see this one going. Hull I thought showed the improvement over last time, but Blackburn are also going to be looking to get back to winning ways after that game they had against Fulham. I'm going to just edge towards Blackburn in that game with the home advantage, say 1-0 to them. Brentford against Leeds is, I mean, one of the most crucial games we've got going on on Tuesday night, and for this one I think I'm edging towards Brentford, to be honest with you, with some of the mistakes that Leeds are making at the back at the moment, and with how tight Brentford like to keep things, especially at Griffin Park. Unless Bielsa comes through with an absolute masterclass, I know that they will have Calvin Phillips back for this game, which will be an absolutely massive boost for them. I think it is Brentford that I'm edging towards. I'm going to go 2-1 Brentford in this game. Forest against Charlton. Forest are going to look to continue that momentum that they picked up in the Leeds game where I thought they were excellent. I'm going to go 2-0 Forest in that game. Swansea versus QPR. Swansea should be looking to get back to winning ways after a pretty poor one against Derby. Defensively look quite slack for that one. QPR not on a good run at the moment. I'm going to go 2-1 Swansea. Wigan against Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough I thought got quite unlucky in that game they had against Brentford, and Wigan were really off the pace in that game against Preston. I'm going to go 2-1 Borough in that game, although Wigan can pull a result out of nowhere every now and again. Into Wednesday's games, Bristol City going up against Derby. Do you know what? It is Derby that I'm fancying for this one. Bristol City are a very sort of momentum-based side, and with them losing on Friday, that could send them into another downward spiral. We never really know what we're going to get from Bristol City, and with how well Derby are doing at the moment, I'm going to go 2-1 Derby in that game, put my neck on the line. Huddersfield against Cardiff, don't think there'll be much in between those two. I'll go for a 1-1 draw. Luton versus Sheff Wednesday. It is probably Wednesday that I'm edging towards at the moment. moment with the way that Luton are playing, especially defensively. I'm going to go 2-1 Wednesday. Millwall versus Fulham. I don't think there'll be all too much in that game, actually. Obviously, I think it will be Fulham who will be looking to take the game to Millwall, but with how they do at setting up against teams like that, obviously West Brom did manage to get the better of them, but for Millwall to lose back-to-back games at the Den, that doesn't really happen too often. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in that game. I think they may get a point from it. Reading against West Brom. West Brom I thought were brilliant. I'm going to go 2-1 West Brom in that game. And then finally we got Stoke going up against Preston North End. Preston have got our mojo back. You know, we were excellent in the first half against Wigan. We created a lot of chances in that game, but Stoke away is no easy task. I'm beaten in the last 6 home matches. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in that game. So they're all my midweek score predictions, so do let me know in the comments down below what are you guys feeling for this midweek games. But apart from that, guys, that will now go on and wrap it up for today's video. So if you're going to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you subscribe for a bit of regular championship content. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.